be streaming in a moment, and so you're going to be able to see what we can see over here.
Anybody ever seen drones before? Anybody ever flown a drone? Anybody own a drone? What kind of drone do you have? A Phantom DJI, so it looks like the one that's up here. What have you been using it for? Okay, so you're actually using it in an agriculture type.
So that's pretty cool. Do you have your Part 107 yet? Do you have your license yet? Well, you should probably get it. I mean, if you're starting young, and that's awesome, and so that means that you can make some pretty solid money in the future, and also be utilized in agriculture. So that's really excellent. You're helping out the farmers local to you and helping out people around you. So that's pretty awesome.
Who else said they're using drones over here? What are you using it for? Just for hobby use? So there's a difference between a hobbyist and a commercial drone pilot. Hobbyists don't actually have to get their license. So if you're just doing it for fun, you're not making any money, you're not furthering your business in any way, and you don't actually have to worry about the license side, you just have to stay under 400 feet, don't fly any airports. The commercial side, you actually have to go in and take a 60-question test, and FAA testing seat. So that's kind of important to keep in mind. If you're making money doing it, then definitely use your license and not have to worry about it.
You also want to make sure you're not flying over people. That can be pretty dangerous if the drone engine's cut off or the battery dies or something like that. Now, flying over people, what does that mean? There's a lot of different types of, what flying over is. Essentially what that means is that if you're at a point in which the drone's battery stops, so when you lose connection and the drone stops working, it doesn't fall like this unless it's hovering. If it's flying forward, it's going to keep going forward, it's going to hit somebody. So you always want to make sure you're clear of somebody, make sure that that person's kind of out of the way of harm if you're going to take photos. So yeah, you just kind of want to make sure you're careful about that. But I'm going to go ahead and take off here.
What's the type of sensors that are out there?
So,
and what would you use those for?
Okay, that's a good question. So there are a couple of different types of sensors. You have the regular RGB cameras, that's the same kind as on your phone. You have multispectral, which is what we build. That is near infrared. What that is used is to identify things like fungus and insects damage before it can really become visible to the naked eye, or at least it highlights those areas. We were going out and last year we did $2.2 million in damage on a single farm because they got hit by by Hurricane Irma came through, and he thought he lost about 2,000 trees of pecans. He lost 5,000 trees. And that's equal to, in a single year, it's about $2.2 million. So that's a pretty decent use case there. I've been flying over peanuts, pecans, peaches, blueberries, grapes, regular corn, and that sort of thing. And what we've been able to identify there is things like wind damage. If there's been a infestation, or if there's a certain type of pesticide that they're using that is hurting the plants more than it's actually helping, then that's some of the use cases for it. What we do there is essentially what they call photogrammetry, and that's where we fly a certain route, and that route takes a photo every 2 seconds. We then take those images, which can anywhere be from a couple of hundred to a couple of thousand. We put those together into a single map that we can then hand off to the farmer so that they can see where danger is, where they need to go look. We can give them a sample report before we leave to within about 30 minutes so that they know where to react quickly. And then after 24 hours, we can process it on the back end and actually give them basic diagnostic capability. So we basically say this area over here has too much water, too little water, has way too many pests, is some type of disease or fungus, or too much of a certain type of pesticide. But I think that's good.
Yeah. Any questions? Anything at all?
No. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and take off here. So you always want to make sure you have line of sight on the drone. That means being able to see it. usually what I'll do is I'll have a visual observer with me so that they can make sure that it's not running into any trees or any kind of fences or power lines. Some of the things you can do with this is what they call a POI, point of interest. And so what that can do is basically whoop, lost line of sight. There we go. And now it's going to keep that pattern without me having to touch it. I could literally put this controller down and it would fly that until it started to run low on battery, and then it will return home exactly where it needs to. I can also speed it up if I need to. And then also make it go the other way. So that's just one of the things we can do with it. Also, flying a point of interest, that is, or besides flying a point of interest, fly a specific route, such as this. Boop. New mission, record. So now it's uploading that data and it's flying exactly where I told it to. And this was without me having to touch it at all. It'll not only track exactly where, but how high I am in order to do it. And now it's at its endpoint.
Talk a little bit about what Carol Lee and Steve's doing with their drones.
Sweet.
Hey guys,
Good.
talk a little bit about how do we use drones in our industry. A couple of different ways we use them is for maintenance on their lines. So they can equip that drone with a thermal imaging camera to see hot spots on our equipment. So it can fly that thing from pole to pole. And if we got a piece of equipment breaking down, it's going to become hot. Just like the fire we saw where the guy went ground over here. Basically the same thing's happening, but in a slower motion. So it'll heat one of those insulators up or a piece of our equipment if it starts to break down. And the drone with the thermal imaging camera will sense that, and then we know we got a problem and we can fix it before it becomes an outage. Another way we use them is XR resident drone expert here. So
I'm gonna snag it out of the air. That might.
in a line restoration system.
Oh, snag it out of the air?
Yeah. Like the snowstorm we had here a couple
Well, I
months
didn't do
ago.
what you did earlier.
Oh, yeah.
First thing we do in outage restoration is we have to do an assessment of what our damage is. So y'all know, a lot of our lines right along the side of the road, a lot of them are not really good and evaluated. Y'all know, put snow on the ground and it's 11 o'clock at night and cold and you're walking down the driveway in the woods, that can be pretty tough. But now, we take a drone, set on the road, lift off, and do a damage assessment that way. So we can actually check our lines that way. But that's just a couple ways. And, you know, you hear more and more industries using drone technology. So it's not something that's even started growing yet. It's really big huge before it's over with. So, but mixer as a drone expert.
If y'all want to come, we have some literature up here, a couple of giveaways. If y'all want to come up and check it out and listen to it a little bit, feel free. Come on up and we answer questions if y'all have any. Don't know how to get your license, talk to that. Don't know how to get involved with something. Feel free to come on up.
Yeah, by all means, I'm an open book. I have my card up here. If any of y'all want to email me and talk about how drones work, that's what I'm here for.
That was good. Left a lot less.
My kids always trying.
I tried to get David to ask some leading questions, but he's like, yeah, that's good. I was like, no, like you, can you ask questions? He's like, that's good.
I'm gonna take a break.
How long drone technology drone use has been out there? Y'all tell me what's it right now. How long drone has been 10 years, 8 years? 5 to 10. What's the age of technology of drone use?
So technically, unmanned systems started in Vietnam War. So there was back then what they did is they had radio communication with a pilot or with a unmanned plane basically. They'd send it off and it'd take certain photos at certain areas and come back. Very rudimentary, but that was the start of drones, and that was back almost 40 years ago.
Do you think you've heard about us in a lot of military, correct? Things happen with drones, the conflict we've had around the world. Get Lincoln happened over there, had technology close by. The first time I ever saw a drone was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and a dad, a friend of mine, works in Delta, he works about going back to Japan or China or something like that for his son. It was a very just odd type drone that was very basic. Now, like Nick and them stepped up and got to one like here that he's been flying probably 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, from the what I call the Walmart brand of drones, some of them play out in the backyard. So this right here that you're actually filming, and this is some of the stuff we did 2 years ago. I know I don't know how much y'all got into ag. We're from here, representing here today, heavily involved in agriculture, economic development. But what we did is we went and started filming, Nick did, all over 7 counties using the drone. Part of that is using the educational purposes, hopefully for us, economic development, hopefully for you, as you were saying. You get to thinking, like I was telling you, we've all been in the haymaker where you see tractors go by all the day. You know, you see a combine on film, whatever. But look at the different avenues that drone gives you of a perspective of what's being done. There's where, you know, we've always talked about doing the land restoration. Here it is film on the top, film the sea. Maybe you better see maybe the element, you know, something like that. So I think there, time and some, how good technology is evolved. You know, take a little Walmart brand to this over here. Now, something goes 500 acres an hour. What do you think it's going to be like in 5 years from now? What grade are y'all in? 10, 11, 12? Right. So probably what? 4 to 6 years you'll be out of school, right? Out of college, working, traveling the world with military. But where do you think drone technology will be in 4 to 6 years? Really amazing. That'll be your Walmart brand. I said that by Walmart. Alright? Now, the technology of Nick and them being pilots, what jobs are out there that I can hire on as a pilot to work my company?
So we actually hire pilots. Right now I just built a team. When we go out to farms, we have a 3-man team. 2 people flying drones, 1 person managing the data. And so that's kind of what we're hiring right now. We're hiring 4 pilots to be able to go out there and know what they're doing, know how to utilize these drones so that they can teach others and also accomplish the mission, which is essentially going out there and do this. I come from a military background. That's what I did. Was I worked with unmanned systems just like this in the military, and when I saw that the technology was catching up in the civilian sector, that's when I went over and figured out what I can do to help.
So you're thinking there, within that aspect right there, think of the education we've got to have, because basically for a pilot, it probably has to fall under what? FAA rules? Yeah. So you fall under FAA rules, pretty much of that pilot line is eligible. You've got to understand the technology and regulations to fly that plane.
What's the range on one of these type drones? I know the drones in the military, like they're operating in like Colorado, right?
Size of Texas, yes sir. So with these drones, this can go about, I think, 5 miles last time I checked. That's the range on it. It can fly for about 27 minutes at about 45 miles an hour, so I'm not smart enough to do the math there, but I mean, it can go pretty far if you were just like having a beeline. But yeah, the large drones that we use in the military, those things can fly 16 hours, 20 hours before they even have to start to come down. So, and it can fly about the size of Texas. Afghanistan's only the size of Texas, maybe a little bit less.
Look right here on the screen for the film in the forest history. Nobody, I mean, you never seen a tree fail in that fashion. You know, it's the guy on the combine, Dick, probably 4 miles away, could not even see the combine, but he was filming it forward. You know, the guy said, that was kind of weird. We were sitting there in that combine and that drone was something that bothered me, or y'all saw earlier, kind of follow. You know, to do that right there. Quick story. We was up in Harrison County filming the forestry. You know, everybody, because technology is so huge, everybody was wondering why we were doing it. Oh my goodness, I got to watch what you do. Because I've been filming something new. Perception, which was the area. So he's sitting there, basically that right there, right? They're unloading coals. And part of what we want to do is film the tree industry. That's co-op. There's a farmer, agriculture, where people grow trees, right? That tree that was falling, going to the mill, unloaded right there. You know, quick story though, see how they swing up those poles, swing them around, big, right? They sat there filming, and I love baseball. I told him, I said, be careful, I said, they can swat that thing like a baseball. So he's filming it close, when he's looking, it's a screen of his phone, right? He's not, as you saw earlier, you're not watching the drone, you're watching the phone. That's your eye. All of a sudden, he picked up a lot of the trees, he's swinging the trees around, and they're sitting big, drone, baseball, right? He keeps that thing to fly back and forth, and guess what? He's up in the tree. Those guys working there, climb the tree, taking out the tree. So big thing there, and that's the funny story going with it. But it's absolutely going on with, we never could get filming like this right here without the shooting guns. We're hoping we're actually putting film together over here in the line. Been a year and a half long project. Started about 3-minute video. We hope to get very big purposes. So like I said, y'all know before you're working on jumping, scared, you're doing a pilot, and then you're trying to do it. Like I said, technology-wise, it's so far more advanced before we can ever look at that drone aspect. Y'all go check them out and I'll get some more data.
Text your list. I text you a list of talking points
Thank you.
as he was talking and as I was talking. I mean, as you were talking. That's some things.
Yeah.
He looked at her and he said, oh, what?
All right, guys.
What did he do?
Y'all ready? We're going to go to the next station. We got about a 7-8 minute walk.
7, 8 minutes.
I think that was by far the line.
I asked a question about it, but I just didn't want to get up in front of everybody.
That's fine.
But like y'all was saying, the pilot license, I have one. It's like that, but I do it like for food plots and stuff, and also like on lakes. Like you take it up and you can kind of see like the structure, where to fish and whatnot,
Yeah.
where the fish will be located.
Just for fun, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
as long
much.
as you're not using it for money,
Yeah,
for
I'm
capital
not-
gain, or furthering a business.
Yeah, I'm just
You're good.
doing it for. But if I
You don't
could,
even have to
I mean,
register it.
would be kind of cool to get my license.
Yeah,
It would be.
Good
It's
to do that. So,
I'm actually doing a training in a couple of weeks. You're welcome to come on by.
all right, appreciate it.
And then also here's my personal email. So if you can't make it and you always just want to ask questions, you're welcome to always shoot me an email. Let me know what you need.
But yeah, I was just gonna get some information because it's kind of cool. Like, I just do it to, I mean, just have fun really. Because you
Yeah,
can take it out
that's
in
how I
the
got started.
backyard and go look at.
Right.
Like,
Anything
you know,
you've never been able to
pretty
see
much.
before.
Just I've never really took it out in public or anything, but
Yeah.
I just like.
Yeah, you can
It's
make
really
some money
cool.
down the road doing that.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was talking about the infrared thing, and I was like, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that'd be more along the line of this type model.
Yeah.
Where you can actually do a dual setup, so you can actually have one person flying, one person controlling the other camera,
Yeah.
and the Inspire 2 also offer that.
Oh yeah.
Y'all gonna be here during lunch?
Well, I
aren't you?
appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks.
Y'all are good.
Yeah, come on, we need to. They're gonna be there. You talk.
Yeah, Bevo even said, he said, I was bullshitting. When they actually do infrared, it said, well, you can actually attach it.
Oh, yeah. Please God, yes. yeah. It's, we actually we built our infrared camera to be added onto the Phantom 4, and then we 3D printed a case for it. So we 3D printed a case that actually goes around the band. It bands right here, and then we have a screw that goes on either side. So then it just holds it. And it's here. We remove the gimbal. And so what we're trying to do is build a way to hot swap it, so I can pop it in, pop it out.
More like the Inspire, that kind of.
Yeah.
So that's something like Bevo, whenever he was talking,